Do you have American ancestors? Have you visited American ancestors? Do you even know what I'm talking about? Well, if you have colonial family history, if you have family that goes back to the early times of the United States, and you are not visiting the website American Ancestors, you're missing out. They have lots of records and lots of information there that could actually really help you in your family history quest. And so today I'm going to tell you not only what they have on site, because they have a wonderful library there. I was able to visit in August. But they also have a website that you can access that gives you a ton of information, and they have a lot of records there. So today I'm going to go over both places so that you have the opportunity to see whether or not American Ancestors could be a place that can help you break through those brick walls and find records to help you discover your early American ancestors, those colonial family history people that you cannot find elsewhere. We're going to work on helping you find them today. I'm Aimee Cross. I'm here to help you take your genealogy and your family history to the next level. And we're going to dive in by talking a little bit about what the heck is American Ancestors. All right, American Ancestors was actually the New England Historic Genealogical Society. It was the first genealogical society in the United States, formed in 1845. So you can imagine they pulled in a lot of records that are not held elsewhere. And they have many, many record groups that you will not find at places like Ancestry or FamilySearch or MyHeritage, any of those big websites. They have more. And you need to check them out, particularly if your family lived in the New England area. However, even if they didn't, you may still find some records that belong to your family, even if they didn't live in the New England area. The New England Historic Genealogical Society was formed in Boston, where they still house their library and where they're based. But if you can't go in person, it's all good. You can go onto their website and you can see a lot of what they have. And if you find something that is held like in book format or something there in their library, you can submit a request for copies of that information. And so don't give up, all right? I'm going to take you through the whole thing, whether you go in person, on the website, whatever. We're going to dive in and we're going to learn all about this. Let's start with their website. I want to thank Donald Reagan, the Chief Business Development and Marketing Officer at American Ancestors, for giving me a complimentary 6-month membership so that I could show you guys some of the little things that you may need a membership to view. All right, now you don't need a membership to get a lot out of this website. So I don't want you to feel like you have to become a member if you want to just kind of check it out. Now I'd like to note 2 really big projects that they have they actually have a number of them, but 2 really big ones that I really appreciate. And the first one is 10 million names right up here. 10 million names is an effort to restore, recover, and remember, as they say, I reverse the order, of people that were enslaved. And you can volunteer for this if you're interested in it. They're creating a database of people that were enslaved and trying to help tell their stories. And I just love this. I think it's such a great place to go, especially if you descend from people that were enslaved. You got to check this out. If you go over here to centers and initiatives, they have some really terrific special things going on there. But what I really want to point out is the Weiner Family Jewish Heritage Center. This website particularly focuses on people of Jewish descent who lived in New England. But if you do descend from people that are Jewish, then you definitely want to be checking this out as well. Now, I'd also like to point out some of their other projects: the Great Migration Project, the Boston Tea Party Descendants Program. Beyond Mayflower 2020, they worked a lot on creating lists of those that were with the Mayflower. This is the place where you get a lot of this information, and you can visit any of these places and learn more, like this Great Migration Project. They're studying the people, the original people that came to New England between 1620 and 1640. So if your family tree goes back that far and you're not visiting American Ancestors, boy, you are really missing out. Now, to search for somebody in their databases, click the search tab right up here at the top. And then you can search by name or by topic. And then they also have an A to Z list of all of their databases, as well as you can search by project. So let me click first on search by project. So this is if you want to search by the 10 Million Names, Colonial New England, the Great Migration Study Project. That's how you can search within those individual projects. But if you go here to search, and I'm going to click the A to Z list of all the databases because I want to show you all of their databases. Now they have 504 databases. And if I click down here, only free databases, then I can show you the different databases that you don't need to be a member that you can come and take a look at. Now, one of the other things that I want to point out, I mentioned earlier that they are an affiliate library with other libraries. They are an affiliate library with FamilySearch. So if you go to their library, you're going to have access to some of FamilySearch's records. And they have an agreement with FamilySearch. So some of their databases include information that you may find on FamilySearch. But if you want to know what is just exclusively theirs, then you can click on only exclusive databases. This shows that they have right up here 231 databases that are exclusive to them. So, you know, and who would have thought that they had Alabama deaths, okay? And that's an exclusive database to them. So that's not part of New England, right? So this is an example of how you might find more things. In addition, they have a lot of Canadian records as well, especially those that are close, those areas of Canada that are close to New England. So it's a great resource for Canadian records. Now, for instance, frequently I go to FamilySearch for probate records, but here if I'm researching in Berkshire County, Massachusetts, I need to be checking out American Ancestors. They have a lot of Boston records. If you're researching in Boston, you absolutely must visit this website. And you can see the list just goes on and on. They have cemetery transcriptions. They have some other association records like the Connecticut Nutmegger. And if you click on it, then you'll see you can search by name or keyword. You can use near years. You can search by a volume or page number. But I'm still like, what if you don't know what this is? If you scroll down, they will tell you that it was the Journal of Record of the Connecticut Society of Genealogists. And it's got a lot of information if you're researching in Connecticut. Now, if I go up here a little bit further, I can see a sample image, but I also get some great search tips for this particular database. I can search by first and last name, the year of publication. It tells me all of this, but it also tells me that I can use wildcards. I can use that question mark to replace a single character, or I can use the star to match any number of characters. 2 or more characters must precede that wildcard, but that is a great way that you can play around a little bit with what you're putting into this database. Now, I'd also like to point out, I kind of talked about that you can narrow down the databases, but you can also sort by their most recent additions. And down here, if I want to narrow it down, I can. Now, you can see here, now this is just their exclusive databases that I'm still looking at. And you can see of those exclusive databases, 206 of them are from the United States, 7 Canada, but we even have some from the UK, Ireland, Australia, Denmark, Norway. And those are exclusive to them. Or I can search by date. I can search by a category. Vital records, genealogies, journals, census and tax lists, military records, immigration records, things like that. So it's a very user-friendly way to search. Now, if I go back up here to the top, you'll see that we've got some different icons here. Now, I could highlight one of these so that I remember that this is something I want to go back and see when I'm logged in. But it also tells me that this is a transcript database. It's not the images. Whereas here, I have the images in the database. I want to go back to the search page and I want to search by names. And so I'm going to put in, when I was there in August, I found a book that broke open one of my family trees. I had not been able to determine the father of Carding Jackson. Not only did I determine his father definitively, but because I found his baptismal records, but I was able to go back even further, okay? And it all started with the book I found at American Ancestors. So if I put Carding Jackson in here, let's see what happens. I'm not actually sure. Now, this is not my Carding Jackson. I have discovered this Carding before. He's a little boy that died when he was 3 years old. And so his father, Francis W. Jackson, was somebody that had always been very interesting to me. Gives me the vital record if I view this. This is actually, and I actually went to Vermont and saw this and held this card in my hand. So this is a great resource for me that I may not have been able to find elsewhere. I really like here too that I can just with the click of the button copy the citation if I want to put it somewhere, if I want to put it in a document or something like that. This is a very user-friendly website and I appreciate that. All right, now the book that I found my carding in is not showing up when I search by name. And this tells you why it's important to understand the full website because you may be missing things that you didn't know about. So if I go here to search, and now I want to look at the library catalog. And in the library catalog, I can look for other things. So my Jacksons lived in Rutland County, Vermont. So I'm going to type in Rutland, Vermont and see what that tells me because I already know the book that I'm looking for is a book about Rutland County. And here it is right here. This is the book that gave me the information that I wanted. Now this shows that this book, there's one copy, it's available on the fifth floor stacks. So I can't view this book digitally, but I could reach out to them and ask them if there are any Jacksons mentioned within this book. This is the benefit of actually going in person to a location because I can flip through these books so fast, it's like awesome. Now, if I want to do an advanced search, I can search by multiple fields. And that will allow me to maybe give a name and a place or something like that to narrow down results a little bit more specifically. This is kind of common in a lot of places you can search like this. You can say that the field is the author, title, subject, or a note, and then you could say and not, or. So this really allows you to play with these results and see. For instance, I can look for Jackson, and I want it to be in Vermont. And I'm going to say any field right now. I'm not going to specify that it needs to be the subject or anything like that. And if I could click submit, now I only have 20 hits. Now I'd like to point out this New England Historical and Genealogical Register is in the 7th floor reading room, but it's also on their website. So if I click the website, then I can search the database of this and I can actually see it. So if I put in Jackson, and it was in volume 158. I'm going to scroll down here to volume 158 and search. Now I'm finding the Jacksons who were listed in this article. And if I click on the image, now I can see the actual image of this historical register. So some of the things that are in the library catalog can be found online, some of them can't. Now, what if you find something in that catalog that you really want to get a photocopy of or get more information about and see if your family happens to be in that book? If you go over here to Expert Help and go all the way down here to get photocopies, then they have a photocopy service that is available for members and guest members. And it does take a little while for them to respond to you, but they will do that if you just click Order Now. Then you put in your information and what you would like to get, the title, the library call number, the page numbers, if you happen to know them. If not, you can put the ancestor birth death information so that they can then perhaps find them for you. They are limited by copyright restrictions. Right here it tells you that they're charging you 40 cents per page, but guest members get 25 complimentary photocopies, and members receive the same. Now, I'd also like to point out here in the library catalog that you're searching for books, ebooks, which again you can see online, manuscripts, and microforms. Now, they have a really large manuscript collection. Now, this is part of their R. Stanton Avery special collection. And it's manuscripts and photographs since 1845. Their holdings include handwritten and typed family histories and charts, material with vital statistics such as towns, church, and cemetery records, genealogical papers compiled by genealogical researchers and authors, family association collections, and original primary source documents that have been individually or in collection donated to the library. And I had the opportunity to pull some of the items from the manuscript collection, and they really are a wealth of information. But you do have to pull them, and you're only allowed to look at one at a time because they're precious and rare. So they'll help you out with that if that's something that you want to do on site. Now, what else sets American Ancestors apart? Well, they have some guides for you if you scroll down kind of to the bottom of their homepage. They have some research guides that might help you out. But they also have more expert help other than just the photocopies, which we talked about. You can schedule a consultation, but they offer a free chat with a genealogist. Now, one of the things that's unusual about American Ancestors, unlike a lot of your public libraries, is these guys are all professional genealogists that are working there in the library, and they know their stuff. So they're really good at helping you out with what you're more specifically looking for, right? A lot of times if we're reaching out to a library, they don't understand the methods of our madness, but these guys will. Now, if you want to have a free 15-minute chat, that service is available Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 6 Eastern Time. Now, one of the other things that I want to point out is their partner databases. So these databases, as a member of American Ancestors, you're able to visit from home. And you can see they're from all around the world. They have archives on bound, diversity studies, fine arts and music collections, but this foundation for medieval genealogy, that's terrific. And then you have the Informe Académico, which I probably butchered that for you Spanish speakers. Obviously, I'm not. One of the other things, though, that I really like is they have History Geo. This is a pretty cool website, and it's kind of expensive to join. They also have History Makers, which is another really cool U.S. website. They have access to newspaper archive, as well as some other 19th century U.S. newspapers, the Boston Globe, other newspapers we're seeing here, and then the Irish newspaper archives, as well as some databases from Canada, including Genealogy Quebec. So these are some pretty cool bonuses if you are a member. So here are some images of the outside of the New England Historic Genealogical Society. The building on the left and that other little building on the right are actually connected and part of the same building. When you enter, you're going to enter into this door right over here on the right, and that will take you into this space here. There'll be somebody that will greet you at the desk. Then you can kind of follow those lights. They'll take you back to the elevators to go upstairs once you pay for admittance. There's a bookstore in the back. If you go into the Family Heritage experience, it's a little bit like the FamilySearch library in Salt Lake City. They ask you to pick a question, something that you're interested in learning more about your family history. And then once you've picked your question, you can go through the processes and kind of see some of the other things that you can input the information to learn more, perhaps, about what you might find about your ancestor. It's kind of a fun little thing. Then you move into another space where you actually go into kind of a cool little library that has some interesting artifacts and things like that from New England and from the early historical society. Now, if you're going to go back and do research, the main floors for you are the 5th and the 7th floor. Now, each floor has its own specialty. Like on one floor, you'll find family histories. On another floor, you'll find information based geographically. And there's reference librarians there that can help you figure out where you need to go and what you need to find. Now, my recommendation for you is if you're going to visit in person, that you definitely spend some time in that catalog before you go. So you do have a listing of some of the information that you want there. And I want you to spend particular effort on those manuscripts because their manuscript collection is rare and can be very interesting. On the 5th floor is the Weiner Family Jewish Heritage Center, and their librarians that are in that space are a wonderful resource for you to research your Jewish family. Now, up on the 7th floor, you'll see this beautiful space where you can sit and work with lots of books there, as well as a photocopier where you can scan images onto a flash drive, which is really helpful, or you can pay for copies. They also have stacks of books on this floor in another location. Now, back down on that 5th floor where the Jewish Heritage Center is, they have a small area where you can sit and work, but they have a ton of stacks in that area. They have one room full of stacks, and then they have a whole nother room full of stacks. There is lots of material that's held within this library. Well, I hope this has been helpful for you, and it's given you just a taste of how valuable this website can be as you're researching your early American ancestors. I just really appreciated my visit there. Not only did it break through a brick wall for me, it was just a wonderful place to go visit. I had never been to Boston before, and I had so much fun. It's in such a wonderful place. There's so many knowledgeable staff there that can help you. Don't hesitate to ask questions when you come. And if you can't come, then definitely visit their website. Now, their membership is a little bit more expensive, but you can also subscribe for just 3 months or 6 months. And that gives you the opportunity to maybe not spend quite so much money, but then you can kind of take a look at everything that you want to look at in a shorter period of time, and then set it aside for a while. And then when you're ready to come back, then you can come back. That's a way to save yourself some money. Now, this playlist right over here is a listing of other lesser known resources that can help you break through your family history brick walls. I really encourage you to take a look at this, because there's a lot of places that are out there that can help you that most people don't know about. Good luck. I hope you find those family members that you're searching for. Have a great day.